What's going on, guys? Today the video is about this thing right here, and it's actually brought to you by a viewer who made a comment about my chain depth on one of my other videos, my chain tightness on one of my other videos. So we're gonna go over a proper chain tightness right now, so I don't look like a dummy. Let's do that. Let's move this thing out of the way. We've talked about this before. If you want to know more about it, go ahead and check on that video. So essentially, your chain, this is way too low. You know that. We could tell. We could tell that's too low. If you don't know that, it is too low, okay? So what we're gonna do is we're just gonna tighten it up to the proper chain tension. And this is how we're gonna do that. I'm gonna turn this saw around. We're gonna knock that piece of wood over. So I see this all the time. People running their chainsaw with such a loose chain that it's practically falling off. And this isn't just bad for your saw, this is a serious safety hazard. And this is gonna be the single most important maintenance tip you're ever gonna learn. So a loose chain can cause violent kickbacks and, more seriously, injury to a person. A chain that's too tight, well, that's gonna burn up your bar and cause expensive repairs. We don't want that either. So what's the right way to do it? Well, it's not a guess, it's a science. So first, let's understand the parts. A chain needs to be loose enough that it runs freely, but it needs to be tight enough so that it stays on the bar. And how do we do that? What a lot of people end up doing is over-tightening this thing out of fear of it coming off, and that's a bad thing. So I'm going to go through this and tighten this chain properly so you know exactly how to do it, and I'm going to throw a few pro tips in there. Before I start working on this thing, I want to talk about this tool right here. This is called a scrench. Yeah, say that with me, a scrench. It's because it's a screwdriver and a wrench. So what we're going to do here is unloosen these hex bolts right here. And when I do that, it's going to cause this bar to drop a little bit, and you're going to see this looseness go away. Don't go and tighten this thing back up thinking that it's done and completed and your project's over, because you're just going to end up with your chain off the bar. So now that you have your hex screws undone, you need to find your tensioning screw. And on some chainsaws, that's over here. Sometimes it's here, or sometimes it's right inside of here. So now mine is right here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to lift up on this bar. But what I'm going to use is actually this log. I'm going to slide this forward, and I'm going to put tension right on that like that. And that's going to give me all the slack I need to work with up here. And that's one of our pro tips. When you're tensioning this thing, pull up to check for tension. I see a lot of people trying to pull down. That's not really going to work for you. Make sure your bar is pulled up. That's pro tip number one. And the second pro tip, pull your chain up like this. That's how you're going to provide your right tension. So now we're going to go to our tension screw, and I'm going to start tightening that thing clockwise. And I'm going to watch this get tighter and tighter and tighter and tighter until I get to about there. Right when those teeth are inside of the bar, that's your sweet spot. Go a little bit further. Now we're there. Now, when I lift this bar up, I can't pull the teeth outside of the bar. Can you see that? When I pull them up, you can't pull them quite out of the bar. That's tight enough. So now that we're there and we're nice and tight and our bar is lifted, we tightened our tension to where we want it, we're going to go ahead and lock these things right back down while we're at it. And now our chain is fully tightened.